Today I want to talk about a book that is one of the most the book that could change your life. We are relational beings, even if we choose to live alone in some cases. This is a way to understand yourself and others, potentially break free from a lot of things depending on your upbringing or people that are currently in your life. And the book I'm talking about is called Disentangling from Emotionally Immature People. I will write down the author's name here because I don't remember it. I just know it's like a Lewis Carroll, C.J. Lewis, maybe we'll see. And anyway, she's on a lot of podcasts also because the subject is just so important and so interesting. And if you're having kids, there's also a book called How to Hold On to Your Kids, which by someone called Feldman or Newman and Gabor Mate. They've co-authored that book, and it's about a similar subject or the same subject but from another angle, from the school system and what we do with our kids that gets in their way of their emotional maturation. Because emotional maturation is one of the most important things to look for in another human being and to develop in yourself if you can. The thing is, if you are emotionally immature, then you might not be open to looking inwards and becoming more mature. A sufficiently mature person, in general, they own up to their mistakes now and then. Their inner world is kind of whole. They are able to hold polarity within them. Like they can be against a certain habit or thing, but that doesn't make them against everything connected to that thing or a person performing a certain habit. And their internal world is the same. It's the same. They're able to forgive themselves for certain things and ask for forgiveness. They're able to connect the dots between things that are happening. While an emotionally immature person, they can be 60 years old, but they will shape their viewpoint depending on what they want to feel, and they don't see the problem in that. So if you make them feel bad about something, or if you call them out about something, then you're the enemy. Because then in the short term they will feel better. It's often a person who's kind of maybe making you feel guilty a lot. It's the person who, on the surface they will seem very reasonable, and they can be very intelligent, and they can have a lot of empathy sometimes. And then sometimes it's like you step through a hole in them and you fall. We all need to kind of keep this in mind with ourselves and with other people. A narcissist, for instance, is always emotionally immature. Like that would be one of the biggest signs that that's what's going on. The same goes for psychopaths and so on. Like if you have a personality disorder, then it's like if you're a narcissist, instead of working on yourself and being able to hold the polarity, like black and white, within yourself, you're so anxious, your brain is so lit up about what other people may think about you. So you have so much social anxiety, but you don't have the maturity within yourself to kind of see yourself accurately from the outside. That will hurt your inner child so much that you just, because we often make the mistake of trying to reason with people that don't really, that are made up of disparate parts, like parts that are knocking on each other like this. They're not it's like some people are just rattling around inside here, and there are like good parts and bad parts and painfully emotional parts just rattling around in there. While a mature person, these parts are kind of connected to each other in a whole system, so it makes more sense, and that makes you able to kind of reach them and reason with them. Sometimes, of course, a sufficiently mature person might be emotionally activated and they regress. We all regress temporarily, but we all have the capability to work on ourselves and become more mature. And a sufficiently mature person will kind of own up to their things afterwards. They will claim, like, you know what, I had an emotional reaction, I'm sorry, how can we make this good? While an emotionally mature person won't want to make it good, because now you're the enemy. And the emotional immaturity may show up in a lot of different ways. Like there are some ways where emotional immaturity might seem like someone is just always very nice and benign, but when it comes to it, they are just kind of hiding, and there's not much depth or ability to see, for example, their own little child. So a lot of people have had emotionally immature parents, and that then leads you to finding emotionally immature partners. And it might also mean that there are sides to you that needs the room to mature fully, and you need to be able to see yourself about these things. And if you're willing to do that, the process is very easy. Because if you're able to spot the signs of immaturity in other people, you become more detached and forgiving and willing to take the high road. And you're able to protect yourself much better, because you realize that some people are just they're never going to change, they're never going to understand. And I think that's the most important part, that they're just not going to understand you no matter what you do or try to communicate or what you do for them. They're never going to see you because they can't see themselves. So they can't really understand you. Like if they're stuck at the maturity of a 4-year-old, then no matter how smart they are just never going to be able to connect to you, unless there's a light bulb moment, but it can be quite rare. Yeah, that was that. Maybe this book is amazing. I wish I had come across it earlier. I came across it about 2.5 years ago, and I put the pieces together so much about a lot of people. And and also about how it affects you and the steps that you can take to start disentangling from them. It needs to be at the forefront of all our minds. And a sad part to this is that if you're neurodivergent, for example with autism, there is a likelihood that the person with autism or yourself with autism, that you're kind of stuck at the age before 2 years of age. And so this is the most important book you could read. It's the most important thing to consider and think about and to notice. For example, if you want to date an autistic person, just check on the emotional immaturity. Because you might love them so much, because there are so many parts to an autistic person that is just amazing. But if they struggle with their emotional immaturity and they're not open to working on it, which I do think that autistic people can sometimes, in some manners, be much more willing and wanting to work on these parts. And if they are, then it's amazing. The same goes for ADHD people. You might just grow up in so much chaos and just be driven by impulses and things just not quite connecting in your life, that it's hard to create that coherence within you. But if you do, you will unlock your superpowers, because you will finally understand yourself and other people. You will have a framework that's quite sturdy and that keeps you and the people in your life emotionally safe. It's like a new level of emotional safety that you will have. Okay, I've talked I've talked enough about this subject. And as I said, the book is called Disentangling from Emotionally Immature People. And the other book, which is also good, about how to, because it's based in attachment and how to keep the attachment to your kids, the book Hold On to Your Kids. These two books are great for that. And maybe we all create a more attached world where we are attached inside and we're not rattling around. And this one was even empty. Where we're not rattling around like this inside. Let's connect. Thank you and goodbye.